Hey friends, welcome to another video, and if you do like this video or anything we've done ever, then do consider becoming one of our patrons on Patreon. It helps us produce these and more videos like this, including our city guides, and all your friends are doing it, and you don't want to be the only one who's not. So give us a look. We make some great perks available, and we'd really appreciate it. I have a strange relationship with Washington, D.C. I've only been here 3 times in my life. The latter 2 visits were brief, relatively recent trips. The first trip, well, that was when I was born here. And that was a long, long, long time ago. And I don't remember a whole lot about it. But I do feel a strange sense of connection to this place. Something more than what a transient congressperson might experience, perhaps, but less significant than someone who truly calls DC home. So it feels long overdue that I properly explore and, at the very least, attempt to understand this complicated, iconic city. DC is served by 2 airports, Reagan and Dulles. Reagan is by far the most convenient, just 3 miles south of the city in Arlington, Virginia, but it doesn't have customs, so it only serves U.S. cities and a select Canadian and Caribbean airports with U.S. customs pre-clearance. You can get to Reagan on the Metro, on the blue and yellow lines, and the 15-minute journey will cost you just $3. Then there's Dulles, DC's main international gateway, and ostensibly the reason I was born here. My father was an officer in the Royal Air Force stationed at Dulles when I decided to make my appearance. So, there you go. 26 miles west of DC in Sterling, Virginia, Dulles is an architectural masterpiece. It's not often you get to say that about an airport. The Metro runs to and from the airport via the Silver Line. The trip takes approximately 55 minutes and costs $6. Uber, Lyft, and Washington Flyer Taxi, the exclusive taxi provider from the airport, take about 40 to 60 minutes to Washington, D.C. proper. Rather wonderfully, for a U.S. city anyway, train travel in and out of D.C. is not only feasible, it's also not completely awful. And it means a visit to this wonderful place, Union Station. From here, you can visit many major U.S. cities in the southern and eastern U.S., and particularly along the northeastern corridor from Baltimore, Boston, New York, and beyond. First time I came to this city, other than my glorious escape from the womb, I was here for 1 day and walked 15 miles. It is by far the best way to see what this historic city has to offer. Many of the museums and monuments are clustered together, so walking just makes good sense. In fact, even if you take the Metro, you'll find yourself walking, or if you hate yourself and society in general, scooting between points that the Metro just can't reach anyway. That being said, the public transport system in DC is pretty good. The Metro in particular, with its 6 color-coded lines, is a great way to get around the city and to most of its surrounding suburbs as well. The Metro is cheap, clean, pretty easy to use, and if you're a fan of brutalist architecture, paradise. Your Metro fare is based on how far and when you are traveling. Peak fares are in effect Monday through Friday from 5 to 9:30 a.m. and from 3 to 7 p.m. When you have your ticket, be sure to swipe in and out at the beginning and end of your journey. You can also add a smart trip pass right in Apple Wallet or Google Pay. If you're going to be here for more than a day, it may be worth getting one of these, a Metro Pass, otherwise awkwardly known as a Smart Trip. Anyway, they're good for unlimited rides on 1, 3, or 7 days. But before you get one, do a bit of quick math and figure out if it'll just be worth paying for each ride individually, because they are quite expensive. Metrobus and DC Circulator operate hundreds of bus lines throughout the DC metro area, often to places the Metro can't reach. Most routes cost a flat fare of $2 if paying with cash or a SmartShip card, with a free transfer if you're paying by your SmartShip card. Alternatively, ride-hailing apps such as Uber and Lyft are extremely popular in DC, and fares are often much lower than those of a taxi. It's odd that for a city so iconically American, DC doesn't really have an iconic food. At least, nothing as obvious as the New York slice or the New Orleans beignet, but it does have this, the half smoke. Smoked half beef, half pork sausages. They have a firm snap when you bite into one. They're served on a hot dog bun and often topped with chili. And they're great. But it's rare that an iconic dish is served up at an iconic place by an iconic person, too.
No, we're still here, and this was such a prominent but segregated community when I came here from Virginia in 1952.
It was fate that brought Virginia and her husband together to create this DC institution.
I met my husband while I was at the bank, and he was working in the neighborhood. He'd come from Trinidad and Tobago. He had this very special little recipe for chili sauce that he thought would make any sandwich taste great.
And he was right. The special sauce at Ben's Chili Bowl was a hit and drew some truly monumental customers.
I had the pleasure of meeting with Dr. Martin Luther King, and when he'd come in two or three times to have his chili cheeseburger, while he planned that march in August of 1963. And 5 years later, he's assassinated. That was a heartbreaking day.
I would imagine.
Someone runs in the door and says, Dr. King has been shot. We don't believe it. We don't want to believe it. And then others were coming, and then someone found an old transistor radio, and yes, he's expired. The sobbing was just openly, people were just crying, and then I guess frustration set in, and the frustration after that, anger, and they tore up this beautiful neighborhood. Literally destroyed the neighborhood. We were the only place, this little chili bowl was the only place that was asked to remain open during the curfew that was put in place for 3 nights. And we were open until 3 in the morning anyway. So they asked us just to stay open. It was scary.
I would imagine.
But we did it.
And that there is Ben's Chili Bowl, and Virginia for that matter, in a nutshell. Pillars of the community defiantly standing their ground and serving the good people of DC against all odds.
I've served presidents and judges and professionals and doctors and lawyers, you name it, construction workers and street sweepers, and I've also served heroin addicts, crackheads, and bums. What's better than that? Yeah. And when you do that, by treating people the way you would like to be treated, it doesn't matter what your station in life is, you can stay in business a long time. It's very simple, it's not rocket science.
And so we leave Ben's not just full of half smokes and chili, but of inspiration, wiser for the words imparted by one of DC's very best, Virginia Ali. DC, by its very nature, attracts representation from all over the world, so the world's food is represented here too. But cultural and political representatives come and go, so this city is an unusual balance of permanence and ephemera. Some cultures come and go, others come and stay. An example of the latter is Ethiopia. DC is home to a large Ethiopian community, and that means incredible Ethiopian food is right at home in the city. And another dish, or condiment more accurately, that no DC trip is complete without, is mumbo sauce. While it can't claim to be invented in DC, it was actually invented in Chicago, mumbo sauce is an absolute DC institution. The legend has it that it started in African-American diners in the 1960s and then was firmly embraced by the city's Chinese restaurants as an accoutrement for wings, fried rice, and now you can find it on everything. It's kind of like sweet and sour sauce, but with a little bit more spice to it. And while not everybody can agree on its origin story, pretty much anybody you ask in this city will tell you it's bloody delicious. We're in the US, so you will be using the dollar while you are here. The US is slowly catching up with the rest of the world's transactional norms, but there are a few anachronisms that you're going to have to contend with. When you pay with your credit card in a restaurant, almost invariably your card will be taken away and then returned to you with a piece of paper that you have to sign and add tip to. If you're using your card in a shop, it could go a bunch of different ways. You may, if you have chip and PIN, be required to enter your PIN and then sign, or recite a Bible verse, or give a fluid sample. I could go a million ways, but in this transitional period of US commerce, all I can say is good luck. DC has its fair share of crime. DC has its fair share of crime and may feel intimidating compared to other Western cities. But if you take the usual precautions of leaving the bling at home, looking after your phone, and avoiding dimly lit areas at night, you were going to be just fine. And it in no way should dissuade you from exploring this wonderful city. We are in the US, so I am afraid we need to talk about tipping. Whether we agree with it or not, it is a thing here. It's mandatory. That means it's not optional. 15% minimum. If you hate maths like me, just look at the receipt and double the tax. That's how I do it. Enough said. But is DC an expensive city? Let's do the rundown. A cup of coffee will cost you around $3.50. A pint of beautiful beer will cost you around $7. And for the most reliable indicator of a nation's cost, the good old Big Mac, you're going to pay $6.39. There's a lot to say about this city, good and bad. If ever there was a top 10 list of complicated cities, Washington, D.C. would be pushing hard for the podium. The city itself is filled with a transient population of political staffers, lobbyists, and all the flotsam and jetsam they bring with them. So it feels fluid, ephemeral, strange. Layer on top the struggles the city has played host to, and there's a palpable sense of unease on these streets. But at the same time, I get a weird and borderline uncomfortable pang of patriotic pride when I stand in the shadow of the Lincoln Memorial or wander through the halls of the incomparable Smithsonian museums. I may have been born here, sure, but I think it's going to take me a few more visits before I truly feel like I understand this most American of American cities.